Alright, it is Monday, September 3rd, 2018. Let's take a look at the weather. There's a lot of weather stuff happening today. Alright, Hurricane Norman is a Category 2 with maximum sustained winds of 105 miles per hour. The minimum central pressure is 971 millibars, located 19.5 north and 138.4 west. Movement west at 17 knots or 20 miles an hour. And Olivia, Tropical Storm Olivia, maximum sustained winds of 60 knots or 70 miles per hour. Minimum central pressure 991 millibars, located 16.6 north, 115.2 west. Movement west 7 knots at 8 miles per hour. Alright, Norman and Olivia will be moving west. Hopefully they do not interfere with Hawaii, but it might be missing Hawaii, moving a bit north as some of the models were showing. Alright, we also have Gordon right off the coast of Florida entering the Gulf. Gordon has a maximum sustained winds of 45 knots at 50 miles an hour, minimum central pressure of 1006 millibars, located 26.2 north and 82.6 west, movement west-northwest at 15 knots or 17 miles an hour. Also, Tropical Storm Florence, maximum sustained wind 60 knots at 70 miles an hour. Minimum central pressure of 995, located at 18.6 north and 39.8 west. Movement west at 13 knots, 50 miles per hour. Also, we have Disturbance 1 with a 10% chance of cyclonic formation in 48 hours. So, we gotta keep an eye off of this Disturbance 1. We gotta keep an eye on Florence. We gotta keep an eye on Gordon. We gotta keep an eye on Norman and Olivia. Alright, there's something else I wanted to show you guys. We have right now in the Gulf, we have some warnings up, tropical storm warnings and hurricane warnings off in the Gulf. We got flash flood watch in central Mississippi and southeast Texas. So, severe thunderstorm warning also around the coast. Keeping an eye for Gordon building right now in the Gulf. Alright, let's take a look at the telecast. Here is Gordon right off the coast of Florida, churning up, heading towards the Tallahassee, New Orleans area. So this whole coast area from Houston, Texas, all the way to Florida is pretty much under rain. Gordon, we gotta keep an eye out for the New Orleans, Mississippi, Montgomery, this whole area on the coast. Hopefully it does not turn into a hurricane once it hits the warm waters of the Gulf, but we gotta keep an eye on that. Alright, let's take a look at the Atlantic. As you see here, right off of the Greater Antilles and the Puerto Rico area, there is another storm bubbling. This is how Gordon started. Gordon was mostly off of Dominican Republic, Cuba area, and then it kind of slowly traveled to Florida. Now here's another one building up off the coast of the Greater Antilles and Puerto Rico area. Keeping an eye on that. Also, Florence just churning off in the Atlantic, and more storms coming off the African coast. And also rain in the Midwest and parts of the Michigan area just streaming across with a jet stream there. Alright, let's take a look at, you see Norman there, Norman and Olivia in the Pacific heading towards the Hawaii area. Alright, this is Florence turning up in the Atlantic. So you see moments of intensification over time. So we don't know how strong she's going to be or if she's going to weaken out there in the Atlantic, but she's still kicking. Alright, here's Gordon off the coast of Florida and parts of Cuba getting rain as well. Alright, let's take a vent of sky, see how warm the waters are off the Gulf. Right now around Florence is 78, 79 degrees. Once it gets closer to the East Coast and the Caribbean areas is 81 degrees, 82 degrees, 83 degrees. So you see how increasing it could intensify the hurricane or tropical storm into a hurricane. And off in the Gulf of Florida, you see 80, 81 degrees, and it gets closer to Louisiana, 83 degrees, 82 degrees, 83 degrees. So you see this Gulf is pretty warm. Alright, let's take a look. Here we see NOAA's satellite images off of Gordon, off of Florida, and also those storms off the Greater Antilles and Puerto Rico area building there, as well as Florence churning up, looking pretty much like a classic hurricane, or the beginnings of a classic hurricane off in the Atlantic, and then more storms off of the coast of Africa. Alright, here is Gordon again, entering the Gulf area and prognosticated to head towards the Louisiana area. Alright. Here is Florence again. Tropical storm Florence. Current center location 18.6, 39.8 west. Maximum sustained winds of 70 miles an hour. Movement west at 15 miles an hour. So by Saturday, she'll be getting closer to the East Coast, and some of these models are showing various possible locations for her to go. One of these models is heading towards Florida and Georgia area. Another one takes it up the coast, up to the northeast, and another just keeps it out in the middle of the Atlantic and then sweeps it off into the east and away from the possible of landfall. Hopefully that's what happens and no landfall actually happens, but let's keep an eye on her and keep an eye on the other possible storms. It is time, guys, to be prepared. Get water, get canned food, get candles, get batteries. Make sure you have a preparation plan for evacuation for your family and yourself in case of evacuation being needed. Please stay safe. It is hurricane season. Alright, guys. See you later.